As is well known, scientists have long been making plans to revive certain extinct animal species. However, it turns out that the classification of extinct species is not always 100% accurate. People continue to report sightings of creatures that, according to science, should not exist. Hello, you're on the NSK Show channel, and these are 10 extinct animals that might still be alive. Mastodons. Mastodons are believed to have died out approximately 11,000 years ago. According to one theory, they were wiped out by tuberculosis. Nevertheless, according to a fantastic testimony, they were seen quite recently, about 500 years ago. In the 1560s, an Englishman named David Ingram traveled to America, covering a distance of 32 to 18 kilometers across what is now the United States. He told fantastic stories of visiting Native Americans, of gold ornaments, and of furry elephants. He claimed to have seen mastodons thousands of years after they were supposed to have died out. His account is easy to dismiss, but he also described buffaloes and the general topography of the lands he visited in great detail. Of course, it's noteworthy that unverified reports of mastodon sightings appear on the internet today. Nonetheless, it's quite curious how David Ingram managed to describe the mastodon in such detail. He had no reason to assume they lived on the territories of both Americas, and at that time, he definitely could not understand what exactly he was seeing. Passenger pigeon. The number of passenger pigeons once reached into the billions. John James Audubon once observed a flock of these birds flying over his house for a full 3 days, an incredible number of birds. However, the problem with such a huge number was that they were very easy to hunt. Hunting, habitat loss, and infectious diseases led to the complete extinction of this bird species. Attempts to preserve small populations in captivity failed because the birds were accustomed to living in large flocks. The last passenger pigeon, named Martha, died in 1914 at a zoo in Tennessee. 7 years after the passenger pigeon was officially declared extinct in the wild, a pair of these pigeons was spotted by a rather famous person, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. In 1907, while in Albemarle County, the first president ecologist, who of course knew animals, saw a small flock. And it's quite possible that small flocks managed to survive. Simply too many people, who knew exactly what passenger pigeons looked like, saw them after the official date of their extinction. Woolly mammoth. A video of a bear with a fish in its mouth posted on YouTube stirred up the internet. Users discussed it for hours. As one might expect, tabloids began printing headlines like, "Are woolly mammoths still alive?" However, they haven't been seen for over 100 years, in other words, throughout the entire 20th century. This sounds quite strange considering mammoths became extinct 4,000 years ago. Nevertheless, in 1920, a Frenchman told a fantastic story of seeing a creature in Siberia that matched the description of a mammoth perfectly. It was a huge elephant with large white tusks that were tightly spiraled. Its fur was a dark chestnut color, as far as I could discern. It had rather long fur on its hindquarters and shorter fur on the front. I must say, I never even thought such huge elephants existed. And next to it was a second elephant, at least as large as the first. Some lesser-known newspapers quoted his words in this way. Another fact, frozen mammoths were discovered in 1948, and their meat was quite well preserved. This certainly cannot be considered ironclad evidence, but given the vast expanses of Siberia, anything is possible. By the way, in that area, there are occasional reports from eyewitnesses claiming to have seen creatures resembling elephants. This also doesn't fully confirm the theory, but it's quite hard to mistake a moose for an elephant. So personally, I really want to believe that there's at least a grain of truth in these reports. Chinese river dolphin. Chinese river dolphins exclusively inhabited the Yangtze River. These once numerous dolphins were doomed when the Three Gorges Dam was built. The Chinese river dolphin was declared extinct in 2006, but then it was seen just a year later. A group of students led by scientist Wang Ding confirmed this observation. Overall, this is great news for the survival of this species. Unfortunately, these dolphins were only spotted once. A major expedition that explored over 3.5 kilometers of the river yielded no results. Nevertheless, the Yangtze River is very long, so there's a chance that a couple of these dolphins are still alive. Eastern cougar. The eastern cougar was declared extinct in 2011. which is quite strange considering the large number of sightings. Reports of sightings appear in practically every state along the East Coast. Naturally, these encounters occurred after 2011 when the species was declared extinct. There are even entire websites dedicated to sightings of this species in various states. People in New Hampshire saw and photographed a cougar, which officially couldn't have been there. Other people also reported finding traces of excrement and tufts of fur from these cougars. Therefore, the eastern cougar apparently is not extinct at all. Javan tiger. The Javan tiger, as one might assume, inhabited the island of Java. The Javan tiger became extinct, mainly due to hunting. The last official sighting of this animal was recorded in 1976. Nevertheless, they were allegedly hunted throughout the 1980s. Thorough searches conducted in the mid-1990s led to the conclusion, made in 1994, that the Javan tiger was extinct. Exactly a year later, an eyewitness spotted it. In 1995, a Javanese ranger accidentally discovered a whole group of Javan tigers. Activist Wahi Ugi still finds evidence of their existence, from excrement to tufts of fur, and he firmly believes that the Javan tiger is alive. Mexican grizzly bear. The Mexican grizzly bear inhabited areas from Mexico to the state of Colorado. It was believed that the last Mexican grizzly bear was killed in 1964, and in the same year, it was officially declared extinct. However, Mexican grizzly bears continue to be spotted in the wild. A study in 1979 conducted after the 15th anniversary of the species being declared extinct found evidence indicating the presence of grizzly bears in Mexico, such as claw marks and paw prints. The study also found that certain areas of Mexico provided an ideal habitat for these bears. Tasmanian tiger. Tasmanian tigers were hunted because they posed a threat to domestic livestock. Habitat loss also had adverse effects on the population of this species. Settlers gradually displaced these animals. The last Tasmanian tiger died in 1936. However, sightings of these animals are quite common. They were spotted in Tasmania and Australia, although it's fair to note that none of these sightings have been scientifically confirmed. Nevertheless, several people who reported encountering a Tasmanian tiger were sober and of sound mind. In 1979, there was a report from workers building fences on Lang Island. The workers spotted a Tasmanian tiger early in the morning. This is one of several reports of encounters with this extinct animal during daylight hours. There are about 12 similar reports. Part of the confusion is that most of these reports come from Australia, where this species became extinct in the 1800s. Japanese river otter. The population of the Japanese river otter began to decline in the 1930s, and by the 1970s, these animals had become very rare. They were declared extinct in 2012, and only 1 year passed from the declaration to the first sighting of this otter in the wild. Moreover, people quite often report seeing these animals. In the first year after this species was declared extinct, people reported 15 sightings of these animals. Most of these reports were not officially registered. And that's all for today. Don't forget to like this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching. Bye.